darkest winter night, here with my candle burning, cozy and warm inside the light. Now that the year is turning, what does the future hold in store? Where has our journey brought us? How can we learn from what's gone before? What has experience taught us? We are the future. We can reach for the stars. We feel at home in our own backyard. We want to be who we are. Friendship will light the darkest hours. True love will hold the vision. Peace and goodwill on earth is ours. Let it be our decision. La da da da. The songs of a billion stars, silently all through the night. Deep in the darkest winter night, here with my candle burning, cozy and warm inside the light. Now that the year is turning, how the year is turning. La da 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 da.
Good morning, Unity, and thank you for joining us this morning on our Sunday celebration. As always, as we enter the third Sunday of Lent, we talk about love. And we know we need more love. The world needs love. There's so many titles of songs out there to remind us of this day. And as always, I am grateful for you to be here, and we want to share the world with the world. So go ahead and like, comment, share out our broadcast this morning, and if you join us later, you can feel free to join and share this out with people who you think need the message as we come to the end of our book series. And ironically, we start coming to the end of our year here, and what a year it's been. We've had so much go on, we have so much going on. And here it is, the holiday season, where we want to be joyous and we want to be loving and we want to be that, and we have challenges. But we know that as we use our unity principles, that we find ways to work through them and make the best of what we have. So let us begin by just kind of centering in, and just a quick prayer. We're going to do a little holiday meditation later, but if you feel so moved, go ahead and close your eyes and just breathe into this moment. Let's just take in this morning and just breathe and know that we are one with all that is good, all that is there, all that we call God is in this surrounding area right now as we join each other in this online experience, knowing that even in our distance, we are still connected through that source. We are still connected through that energy that surrounds us. We know that we are in a loving place. We are in a peaceful place. We're in a joyous place. We know that we see the consciousness of ourselves rise as we begin to center into this moment, knowing that all is well, that even the challenges we see are there, but we know we're going through them. We are taking this human experience and rising it through into our spiritual experience. We take this moment, we take this centering to know that we are here to empower ourselves to be the light for those and help them see how to empower themselves. And we are so grateful because we see it done, and so it is, and we let it be. And we say amen. And as I said, today is the third Sunday of Lent, love. And our reading for today comes from our book, The Spirit of Christmas, which is the pamphlet that we get from Unity. And again, you can go to unity.org and get it for yourself. And it is again on love. So it is Sunday, December 13th, 2020. And the story is from Reverend Kurt Condra. He said, asked to tell the Christmas story in their own words, a group of fifth graders at my church pretty much shared the basic version we all know, from hymns, pageants of Joseph and Mary, a donkey, angel, star, stable, king, shepherd, and of course, baby Jesus. As they talked about each character, one student noted that under the normal conditions, kings and shepherds would never hang out. Well, what that means for us, they said, is that from birth, Jesus taught that we should love everyone, black, brown, or white, rich or poor, cool or nerdy, gay, straight, or questioning, Democrat or Republican. And at the core, they said we are all one in God's love. In view of the unconditional love that defines Christ consciousness quite succinctly. In a subsequent debrief, their parents and soul school teacher were asked to identify the moments in their life when they absolutely knew what it was meant to love unconditionally. A few said they always known. Several said it was when they loved by a cherished pet. Others said they learned to love without strings when they had their own children. All agreed it was a continuing journey in which we give and receive love at a deeper and deeper level of our being, and that children have a better handle on unconditional love than most of us. There is an incredible sense of power and freedom in both giving and receiving love without condition and expectation. The experience can be profound that we lost track of whether we are the giver or the receiver. And that's the beauty of it. We get to plug into the equation from either side. The instant we give love selfishly, we receive a sense of peace, harmony, and fulfillment. The flip side is the instant we become willing to receive the infinite love of God always pouring out upon us, we are compelled to give it back. It's our nature. Love is who we are, and no season can contain it, Sarah Bareilles affirms in her evocating song, Love is Christmas. It's true about each of us and everyone else too. From Colossians 3:14, above all, clothe yourself with love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And it is so true as we begin to speak of how children can see love in a way that we don't, and they accept it so much. And it's why our Christian scriptures encourage us to return to childlike things. And I know there's also a verse that says we left behind childish things, but it's when we return to that childish mentality or that beginner's mind, as I talked about during our consciousness, we do things. So have fun, especially in this Christmas season. It is the best time to be a kid. Hey, look, here's my new friend. He sits here as I work and do that. I'm a big kid. I wanted a child from The Mandalorian, and I bought myself one. So be a big kid this Christmas. If you're dealing with sick people, be a big kid for them. Get them laughing, get them joking. Help them find that healing inside of them. We have losses. Return to that place of love and know that they've transitioned well, and wish them well on their journey and know that they've taken that time. So, with that being said, our affirmation for today, for Lent, and let's focus on the candles of Lent. As you can see, there's 3 candles lit. Our affirmation for today is I receive love graciously and reflect it to the whole world. So I'll repeat that again. I receive love graciously and reflect it to the whole world. And one more time. I receive love graciously and reflect it to the whole world. Our daily word, of course, will reflect today as the day of love and the third Sunday of Advent. And the word, of course, is love, and love surrounds me and fills my heart is the affirmation from our daily word today. So love surrounds me and fills my heart. And that's a great meditation there. Love surrounds me and fills my heart. Love fills my senses throughout this Advent season. I find it in the taste and aroma of my favorite holiday recipe, lovingly made. I hear it in my favorite Christmas music, sung with joy. I feel love in a child's enthusiastic hug and in a friend's caring touch. I see love and joy in the festive decorations adorning the house and neighborhoods. The love of friends, family, neighbors at Christmas time surround me in so many ways. Throughout the year, love remains the most beautiful evidence of the presence of God in and through all things. Love is the harmonizing power that infuses the world and everyone in it. Inspired by divine love, I perceive the divine in every person in all situations. Inspired by divine love, I perceive the divine in every person in all situations. Inspired by divine love, I perceive the divine in every person in every situation. Know that that last line is truly an affirmation that we all need to feel right now. And from Corinthians 13:13, and now faith, hope, and love abides, these three, and the greatest of these is love. So with that, we will go into our next song, our meditation, our song, and our lesson. So sit back, join in, and enjoy.
On a frozen winter's day, how bittersweet the season ever since you went away. My heart was feeling heavy because I missed you so. Then at once I saw it, a cardinal in the snow. Landed on my windowsill, and for a while did stay. The beauty of the moment simply took my breath away, and I felt your presence with me. You were there, I know. From wings above I felt your love, a cardinal in the snow. There's beauty all around me, although the skies are gray. No longer will I doubt you'd never be too far away. I will remember you helped me to let go. A smile came down from heaven, a cardinal in the snow. A smile came down from heaven, a cardinal in the snow.
As we enter into this time of meditation, let us just take this time to affirm a little holiday treatment, as we can all use a little bit of that holiday cheer and peace. So let's go ahead and begin by settling into our breath. And with every breath, just breathe a little bit deeper, allowing the out breath to release and clear that which is not serving us, that what we worry about from yesterday, and that we are anxious about tomorrow. And let that breath just bring us here centered into this moment. And let us begin our treatment and our affirmations. As I recognize there is one power, one universal intelligence, and I choose to call that God. God is love, God is peace, and God is joy. God is kind, God is generous, and God is receptive. And I am one with God, therefore I am love, I am peace, and I am joy. I embody divine kindness, generosity, and receptivity. I declare that this holiday season is a joyful and loving time. I reflect on my blessings of the past year, feeling immense gratitude as I praise the goodness in my life, and as I praise, my good multiplies. I spend quality time with the people and even your animals who are important to you. I also give myself permission to relax and nurture myself. And even if I can't be next to those that are loved by me, I also remember those that I love who have left this planet and feel peaceful that they are continuing their divine journey. And those that can't physically be here with us, we open our hearts knowing that they're in a loving, peaceful place, thinking of us as well. I am open and receptive to new experiences that bring joy and fun. I open a hand of friendship and generosity to those in need. I am kind to everyone wherever I am. Streets, freeways, parking lots, airports, and shopping centers. I embodied peace within, so I experience peace in my life. I proclaim that love, peace, and joy is everywhere on this planet. I know that all people are living together harmoniously, respecting one another. Every corner of the world is safe and peaceful. And we continue to heal from all the events of this year, knowing that we are in a better place. And let us release this mantra. Let's release this treatment and just enter into the silence for a little bit to be open to receive and to listen. I give thanks for the love, peace, joy, kindness, and generosity that I am experiencing during this holiday season. I have gratitude for the blessings in my life, knowing that they will multiply throughout the new year. I release this treatment, I release this prayer, and I release these words knowing that it's already done. And because it is, we let it be. And so it is. Amen.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till He appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh hear the angel voices, oh night divine, oh night when Christ was born, oh night divine, oh night divine, oh night divine. Truly He taught us to love one another. His law is love, and His gospel is peace. Chains shall He break, for the slave is our brother, and in His name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we with all our hearts. We praise His holy name. Fall on your knees, oh hear the angel voices, oh night divine, oh night when Christ was born, oh night divine, oh night divine, oh night divine. Oh, holy night, it was a holy night, holy night in the town of Bethlehem. Holy night, the stars were shining bright. Holy night, where a little baby lay. Holy night, and the
So, once again, good morning, and welcome to the last chapter of our book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And I hope you've gotten a lot out of this. So, in this chapter, we're going to be talking about solving the relationship problems. And no, we're not talking about marital counseling or anything else. If you have those problems, seek out counseling. But all jokes aside, we're going to be reflecting on using the upper limit problem and helping within a relationship. So our biblical scripture today that I thought worked well with our chapter comes from Romans 12:12, and it's rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, and be constant in prayer. And as I said, the title of the talk today is solving the relationship problems. And it's from the upper level problem or upper limit problem. And one of the things I wanted to talk about real quick about the book is, all along the way, and this not just from some of our speakers, but also from people who have contacted me, look at the book and go, well, how is this a spiritual book? And we kind of forget sometimes that we are a learning church. But I didn't want to say anything until the very last chapter, because this is where I say, you kind of want to go through the book. Since I've already read it, this is now the fourth viewing of this book for me, where it goes, I wanted to say, wait for it, because in this last chapter, the author actually comes in and starts talking from a spiritual point of view. Gay Hendricks has written a lot of books, a lot that have to do with spirituality, but kind of like our biblical story of the Pentecost, where, I think it's, and I did write it down, where in Acts 2:4, and all of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit enabled them. Sometimes as I grew through personal development, I realized that I was reading books that were meant for business people, that were meant for people who are not very versed in spirituality. And so they wanted to speak in a language that they could understand. So think of the book Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich came out at the time where Charles Fillmore wrote his book Prosperity. And one spoke to a lot of the business people. But if you go through the book and actually understand spirituality, you will see that a lot of what Napoleon Hill talks about has to do with spiritual practice, visualizations, higher sources, things like that. And Gay Hendricks is no stranger to that exact same thing. So in this chapter, he talks a little bit more about spirituality. So I invite you to go back through the book, go through your unity principles and go through your unity teaching and see how closely they are. So let's return back to what this chapter is actually about. So again, we talk about solving the relationship problem. And what he's talking about is as we're working to our success level. And again, success for everyone is a little bit different. It could be having a better family. It could be having a better job. It may be trying to be better on your job. It could be becoming an entrepreneur, running your own business, doing things of that nature. And when you're in a relationship, now you have two people working together. So I can tell you from my own marriage, when I started my home business on top of working a job, we were trying to make ends meet, new family. At this point, we had pretty much 1.5 children. I was traveling to work. And a lot of things going on, but now I'm on a personal development trek as well. So I'm trying to lose old habits to pick up these new habits of spirituality, new habits of personal best and goal setting and things like that. So what begins to happen is that in many relationships, as one partner is starting to work on something and the other partner wants to remain comfortable in what they know, there we both hit upper limit problems, or the upper level problem. And we start to hit that ceiling, because when we hit that level, our minds, our egos tell us that we need to come back down to a comfortable level. And it causes rifts in a lot of relationships. We start arguing, we start fighting over things that are small because we see ourselves going through a time and change in our period where one or both are uncomfortable, and we're kind of bumping heads because we want to get back to the comfortable part that we know, whether it's a relationship that is, constantly in conflict because they fight all the time because they just want to stay in a place that they know, being painfully uncomfortable. I've shared the story of the dog who lays on a nail, and his owner at the end said, well, when it hurts enough, he'll get up. Same thing. Sometimes we live our lives in that painfulness, that comfort of that pain or that argument or that conflict because that's what's familiar to us. But that doesn't help when you want to raise yourself to a level, and as I said, the successful part of this is not always about monetary, as most people put it, or becoming status symbols. That success can just be part of your spirituality, going through these practices and trying to be a better you. Now, when you have two people doing exactly the same thing, you and your spouse are trying to move up together, each one in their own individual paths, but being successful, it's the same thing. You both get to a point, do not understand the upper level problem, and then you start to have conflict because your ego, your mind is trying to bring you down back to a comfortable level. So you don't push forward, you don't break through that ceiling to be better. And again, I'll even add in, when we talk about relationships, I'm using the word spouse because that's what he used, but we can be talking about relationships with your friends, a community that you're part of. It could be an organization. I've had to walk away from organizations because of the fact that their thinking was very limited, and it was not serving me in any way. And it may sound selfish, but it's not, because you don't want to stay in a marriage or a relationship that's abusive. You don't want to stay in a relationship that has nothing for you. There's no love, there's no nothing, you're just hanging out. You want a relationship to blossom. And yes, there are challenges. Yes, it gets hard. Yes, we both hit the upper level problems, but it's that point where both of you have to make a decision, take 100% responsibility for your own actions, for your own feeling, for your own perspective, and work through them. And that's what this chapter was about. I mean, there's a couple of a couple of studies there on different types of personalities and different types of relationships that they found, which the author says actually surprised them, and it kind of surprised me as well. But then I've also seen in my own life some of those things pop up. So I'll let you look through the book if you're interested in the status part or the statistic part of it. But in general, we know what we're talking about. It could be how many of you have gone on a spiritual path or a personal development path. You start to improve your life and you notice that friends start to push you away. Or that even in a relationship, people start growing out of each other. I used this term one time. My wife used to always say that, well, you got to understand that I'm here and you're up here. And I'm like, no. And this is the same thing that's happened to me, even talking at Unity with some people. And it's not, no. Yes, I have more book learning from being in ministerial school. I may have more book whatever. But each one of us has an individual gifts that even us out, because I need to learn from certain people. We're blessed to have Ali and Tanya, who have taught me so much about meditation and have taught me about Reiki, who have taught me about this. And I hope in turn have been able to help them, or at least educate them in some things that I've learned here at Unity. I have a martial arts instructor who's also a Tendai Mekkyo Buddhist teacher, who I've learned stuff from. My wife has gotten into oils and crystals, and yes, I have a certification with crystals, but on the oil front, I can go to her and say, hey, I heard that it's essential oils. So that's where it is, where we each have our individual paths, but then it's up to us to break through that ceiling. It's about me helping her build up, but I can't pull her up. It's about her helping me and supporting me and building me up, but she can't pull me through. And that's where we're at today, is what is the upper level problem for relationships? It's exactly that. The point where as an individual, we're trying to build ourselves up to make ourselves better for each other, but we're each hitting our own upper level problem. And in a lot of cases, the couples don't even know what this upper level problem is. The author goes on, and here's a little bit about that spiritual part, is that he talks about, at this point when we hit that upper level problem with our spouse, with our whatever relationship we're talking about here, is that both people need to focus on centering in the now. And they also need to focus on gaining that energy, gaining that positive energy in their lives so that things are better. And when things are better, then we begin to crash through that ceiling together. My wife and I, we talked about this last week, just hit 19 years of marriage. My wife will be celebrating another birthday, Monday. And I was sitting with my daughter and said, what a prosperous year for us. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic, and the closeness between my wife and I, the closeness between my children and I, the things we were able to do this year that was not able to be done in other years because we were hitting that upper level problem and we were focused on everything but the now. And this pandemic gave us a time of pause that we can start to concentrate together. And with the challenges going on, we were able to find certain things. Now, have we crashed through the ceilings yet? Probably not. There's so much more that I can see my wife doing in her business, and there's so much more I can see in myself doing as a Unity minister, as a Reiki practitioner, as a life coach. There's so many things I want to do. And even in my personal things that I need to work on that I want to see grow. And I have to get through that ceiling for myself. But the problem here is how does this work? How do we work this out with what we know in this chapter? Well, in the chapter, he talks about, again, the upper level problem. So we need to go and take that 100% responsibility. We need to look at our own lives and say, what are we going through? We know that at the beginning, we've learned 4 reasons for hitting that upper level problem. We know that we have a false belief in ourselves that we are flawed. Well, in a relationship, sometimes we use that to not only take the camera off ourselves, so to say, and we may blame our spouse for something. We may say that they are flawed in some way. But as I always say, and I know it's a little bit advanced because some people still look at me when I say this, words are nothing more than air and vibrations. So if I tell my wife she's flawed in some way and she believes it, it's because there's something inside of her that already believed it. Same thing with me. If I feel I'm flawed because somebody accuses me, and trust me, I've been accused of thinking too big. I've been accused of all types of things that later on helped me break through other ceilings. But I had to realize that when somebody said something to me or challenged me, that if I took that to heart, then it was because I believed it in some way inside of me. Second part was, again, we find ourselves being disloyal to people because in the book we talked about, maybe our parents wanted us to be lawyers or doctors or something else. And we didn't do that. We only focused on, this new challenge, this new journey. But in our belief system, if we push forward, we're being disloyal. In communities, and again, I talked about this earlier, where I was part of an organization and we wanted to do better things, but the person in charge was very stuck in their ways and the group wasn't growing. And I ended up leaving because I realized that, I could be fighting this, or I can find a group that has a growth mentality. But we find ourselves where we don't leave right away, or we stay and try to build because we're loyal to a person. And because of that, we never break through that ceiling for ourselves. We talk about the individual gifts, the gifts that God gave us. We don't reach the limits because we're afraid of being disloyal. We're afraid that we're flawed. We are afraid that we're going to be a burden in the world because we try to get more or move up more. There's not enough spirituality go around. Well, we know that's a falseness. I don't want to pray because it's going to take away from someone else. Well, we don't pray to get things. We pray to build ourselves up. So we're not a burden to the world, but we use that as an excuse to not break through that ceiling. And finally, is to dim the lights of others around us. We feel that if we shine, if we come out and we talk, that we are going to make other people look bad, where in reality, those people probably need you to shine that light brighter. Same thing here. I tell my wife all the time, I said, we've come to a place now where I can come to her, and I'll talk a little bit about how we can work through this, is now I come to her to ask her questions where before I felt like I had no one. And it's because we both built ourselves up. And together we held our hands on the way up to get to that point. And again, I keep talking about spouses. I use my wife as an example, as my own example, but this could be a best friend of yours who's willing to take this journey with you. This could be a family member of yours who's willing to take this journey with you. And that's the relationship we're talking about that may be, challenged because of this. So when I look at this, is one of the things we talk about is, so how do I use it? Well, as I said, this is my 4th reading of the book. And a lot of what we do now, he listed in the book, which I kind of laughed at, which is always, we say that sometimes it's not that we've learning things, is that we've forgotten things and we're being reminded. So one of the things is, take some time for yourself. So like, I'll hear my wife on the phone with her sister, and I'll tend not to bother her. I mean, I may joke with her if I hear her say something or mention my name on the call, and I'll text her and say something crazy. But there are times I'll walk by and I'm working at something here, and I'll hear her on a television. She's watching her show. I trying to stay away because that's her time. In the morning she wakes up, she has her morning routine, such as when she walks into this room and I may be meditating, she'll be like, I can hear the footsteps, and she'll walk away. And we're not talking about just that time. Some of I enjoy a good cigar, and I may go outside to the porch and I'll just sit and smoke my cigar. And of course I enjoy when my wife comes and joins me, or my kids come and join me on the porch, but it also sometimes is great just to sit there and read. I used to go out on the deck and read. So find that time for yourselves. Speak micro truths. I think this is one of the most important things. And when we talk about micro truths, it's not about vomiting everything you've done wrong and it's about, hey, I feel sad. Hey, what you just said made me mad. Hey, so that you can get to the point of it. There's things that happened in the last couple of months that surprised me, or people have done things or to actions they took that I knew was affecting me in some way. And I went to my wife and I told her these things because, one, I wanted her to know that it had nothing to do with what was going on in the house, but two, that I needed something to help me understand. And we talked it out. So when things happen between the two of you and in your relationship, no matter what the relationship is, you want those micro truths. Hey, babe, I'm sad today. Hey, Fred, I'm, feeling a little angry today. Let's take a walk, or let's go have a drink, or whatever it is that you do. I know in these times it's a little difficult, but there's Zoom, there's the phone, there's FaceTime, there's whatever it is that's out there that you can use to talk to each other and just get those things out. One of the biggest challenges that he talks about is talking people out of emotions. Babe, don't cry. No, let her go through it. I'm angry, I got to work through it because I have to dig deep into it to get to that trigger. So you want to encourage each other to go through the emotions, because those emotions will tell you that there's something inside of you, something that triggers you. And as Reverend Ogun always says, this is a chance to actually express God into your life, because that trigger is going to help you find that higher consciousness. And we talked about consciousness a couple of weeks ago as to how to get to that higher consciousness, how to deal from a different level. And that's what's important here. He talks about touching, more when he talks about your spouse, and we can talk about the relationship with your children here, and the we talk of when we're in a marriage, we talk about more intimate touching, but he talks about more of the subtle touching, holding a hand, squeezing a hand, putting your hands on the shoulder, you know fixing a hair with your spouse, with your kids, hugging more, things like that. Those are the things that make a connection between the two of you. Just saying, hey, I know, if I when I get pissed, my wife may put her hand on my shoulder, or she may say something, and that's where that intimacy comes in. So it's not at a more of an adult intimacy level. I'm trying to keep it as a family show, but more of just that subtle touch. So you want to ground in positivity. So this is where we come back to that conflict, where people go back and forth fighting with each other because it grounds them back to a level that they are comfortable at. Well, we don't want to do that. We want to ground ourselves in positivity that rises up. And the author actually, in his Where I Say the Spirituality, again, he talks about walking in grass. He talks about grounding meditation. He talks about, doing things that are positive in that grounding. Cultivate 3 friends for with you can do work through an upper level problem. Call it a focus group, call it a mastermind. But I always say you want to work with people who are going to build you up. It was one of my business mentors who used to say, if you have 5 people in your circle and you're the smartest person in the room, you're in trouble. So I used an example of some people in my circle, and I may know more in a certain topic, or I may have read more in a certain topic that I can help my group in, and they're versed in their topics to help me out. So no one's smarter in the room. We can actually teach each other to come up, and that's what you want to do, because as you go through this upper level problem, you and your spouse, you and your family, you and your friend who are going through this relationship together, you want people who you can now bounce off of, say, hey, I'm going through this thing, what's going on? And they understand. That's the important part. They understand the upper level problem and help you build through it. So now that you understand the things that I've used and things that I've done, and how my wife and I have come to a beautiful point in our relationship where we now are truly partners in our relationship. And it took a while. It took a long time to get here, and it's because we brought that baggage, we brought our upper level problems, we brought the things that we wanted to be painfully comfortable in by holding on to it instead of growing through it and learning through it. And as we finally hit that bottom and said, wait a minute, we are now hearing each other, we're now listening to each other, we're listening to understand each other, and we start to grow through it. We have our conflicts, we have our whatever, but in the most part, it is my joy to see her smiling and to see her growing. And I hope that it's the same thing in her. So when you look at your relationships, you want to do the same thing. You want to see that smile. You want to see the growth. You want to see that and understand that you can have these tools. But as the author says, and I say this constantly in our Unity teachings, is that it's about practice, practice, practice. So what's in it for you? Imagine the relationship you could have when you deal with your upper level problems, when you can build yourself to a point where your light is so bright that the people in your room just want to be with you and help grow with you. You want to go out there and truly give people the best you there is. You want to be the best person, the best dad, the best mom for the children in your lives. And even those children that aren't biologically yours are looking for someone like you. It's about dealing with those problems, letting go of what's not serving you and growing through that. So when we talk about solving relationship problems, when we talk about that, we understand the upper level problems. We understand the 4 main parts that drive us back to our comfort level, that ground us in negativity. But now is the time to take it in practice. Now is the time to go out there and do that. We conclude our book here knowing that you've been given the tools. But it is up to you to go out there and practice, practice, practice. As always, if no one else has told you, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. And I want you to join me in breaking the ceiling for ourselves, for our family, for our community. That we begin to let those God-given gifts that are in us come together as a collective so that we can grow our community and truly be the thing that people are seeking, because there are people looking for us out there. But if we're not shining our light in the truest and brightest of forms, they will never find us. So as always, I thank you, and I'm humbled to be here to talk to you. And let's go ahead and move into our next song and then our announcements.
Holidays are here, that special time of year when no one wants to be alone, dreaming of snowfall and firelight, with presents neath the tree. We all want to be loved and find peace, but reality is not always what we dream. Too many people are sleeping in the streets, so many children with not enough to eat. In a world with so much wealth, why is this so? I don't know. It's time to take care of the world while the holidays are here. You must look inside your heart and try to find the part that will bring comfort and joy. But we're not alone on this world we roam, so don't forget to show you care. Come on and reach out while the holidays are here. But reality is not always what we dream. Too many people are sleeping in the streets, so many children with not enough to eat. In a world with so much wealth, why is this so? I don't know. It's time to take care of the world while the holidays are here. Don't do it just this time of year. We got to reach out, 'cause the holidays are here. Come on and reach out, yeah, reach out. You got to reach out, oh, reach out every day of the year.
I hope you enjoyed our music for today. I truly hope that you enjoyed the lesson and you got something from it. And that's what's important to me, is that I'm able to inspire you, to breathe something into you that says, hey, you know what? I heard something today. and I need to go practice that, and I want that to be a part of my life. So let's talk about our announcements real quick. As always, Tuesday we have our last class for proving the power of the principle. I've asked my students to go ahead and give me some feedback on video, which I will share with you guys at another date. And it's not about, it's not about being impressed by what happened, but to hear from other people how this class has impacted them. We're looking at a prosperity class probably after this, or maybe we'll choose something else. But watch out for the announcement for the next group. And but again, join us Tuesday. I will send out a blast as always, as well as post it on Facebook with the new link so that you can join us. And even if you haven't been through the rest of it, if you just want to join us for the recap and to kind of get the last class where we're talking about sacred service for our community, then join us. I'll see you there. Our candle lighting is this Friday. Trust me, it's coming so fast for me. And again, one of the things that, we hear is change is always the hardest thing to go through. But we have to also realize that during this pandemic, everybody has had to change. Churches all over the world. And this is no difference here. The candle lighting is one of our biggest events in the year. It's, my daughter talks about it all the time. It's like, well, we're doing the candle lighting this year, right? I don't want to hear that. We're going to do it. I am 100% pretty sure I've got an idea in my head and my heart of how we're going to pull this off. One of the things, and I talked about this in my blast as well as that, is that we're going to be looking for volunteers to read and videotape their reading. Twofold there. One, our community gets introduced to you. So if you're a board member or just a lay person, you can introduce yourself. Hey, my name is Richard Pacheco, and I am one of the spiritual leadership here at Unity of NEPA. And today we will be talking about the power of love. And then we'll go through the reading that's we normally do. And I'm still working with that, because even though we're going to use the exact words, usually it's a response back and forth. I may rewrite it so that it's just a quick, and not a quick, but an affirmation based thing that we can settle into. And there's a lot of work to be done, and it does, it's in my heart to really want to make this as best of an experience as we can. So here's your homework for today for this. So my daughter and I were sitting down, we were talking about how do we make it interactive when we're used to going and picking a candle, and on that candle, Reverend Diane made sure that each candle had a power and the affirmation for that. Well, being that time constraint is so short, we can't mail it out to everybody, and we don't know how many other people want to join. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to focus this week on a number from 1 to 12, and no, they are not in numerical order. I have used a randomizer to randomize a number to each of the 12 powers. So no, faith is not number 1. So this was something that was taught to me during a tarot reading on Facebook, where they asked people to choose a number from 1 to 3, and I had chose 3. And what she did was she pulled cards from each person. Now, you may or may not believe in tarot. Again, this was just something I did to, I've never really experienced it, wanted to experience it. I chose the number 3. When she came back and read, it really truly spoke to who I was. And she had 3 groups of people, and each group got a different reading, which I thought was kind of powerful, and I want to use the same thing here. So I want you to focus on numbers 1 through 12. Whatever number keeps coming up for you, whatever number speaks to your heart, hold on to it. Because Friday, as the powers are being read, you will be told which number you have of that power. And I truly believe that it's God's divine plan to put that number in you and to match you up with the power, just as if you picked the candle during the service. So I want you to do that. For the others who have already volunteered to be a video reader, I will send out that script later today, if not by tomorrow. And it's very simple of using your phone. You can use Zoom, you can use any video recording, and just quickly, hey, my name is, this is who I am. I live in Nanacoke, Pennsylvania. Today, if you chose the number blank, we'll be talking about the power of love. And love is, and then go through the reading. And we will give you either a place to upload it to or a link where I can download it to. So it's not complicated, but I would love to see our family join in together. And for those places where I need to fill in spots, we'll figure that out. So I'm going to try and make this, no, I'm not even going to try. We are going to make this the best we can on live with all the abilities we have. My daughter's working on 2 new songs for this candlelighting, which come from 2 Unity musicians, which I thought worked perfectly for this year, especially in the challenge of this year. So look for that email. Next week will be a Metaphysical Christmas with Lee and Tanya. Hopefully we'll be speaking about, what the Christmas symbols are and, how we metaphysically see Christmas. Most of us were brought up in a more traditional Christian household, and we know the Christian story as it was described to us. In Unity, we look at the metaphysical of that story. So pay it, really come, join, listen to both of them. Bring this home for you and understand where not only we celebrate Christmas as we know it, but that we celebrate from a metaphysical level and understand it even at a deeper level of the birth of the Christ consciousness within us. Our burning bowl ceremony will be the following Sunday, and I think that's the 27th if I am correct. And again, we will work through finding a way to bring those things you need to let go to the ceremony as best we can. As always, if you feel moved to contribute, and again, everything helps, every little bit helps, so feel free to remember us as a gift as during these holidays times as well. You can hit our contribute button, use the PayPal button on our YouTube channel, mail it in. I hope to find other ways to make it even easier for you to contribute, but as of now, these are the best ways we can do, and we are so grateful for you who have already done so. And most importantly, Amazon Smile. Again, go to smile.amazon.com, sign up as the nonprofit. We hope that you choose us, and it's a small amount, but again, that small amount in many orders brings in things. It makes my heart smile that every time I order something on Amazon, and there's been a lot of orders in the last couple of weeks because of events happening in my house and the preparation for Christmas. And each time it says this order qualified to donate to the Unity of NEPA. So again, may not be donating big time, but it is donating in small ways to help. So again, we return to this time, and again, let's center in and just quickly affirm the gratitude we have for the people that join us live, the people who will join us later on the replay. We are grateful for the gifts that we receive, no matter the amount. We know that the work it's there to do is already being done. So let's take our gifts in our hands and together say, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that receive. We know that it's doing great works, and because we say it is, and so it is, and we let it be. And we affirm that with an amen. And as always, we bless our children, and we look at our children, we hold them in our hearts, we hold them in our minds, we see them, and we say we love you, we bless you, we honor that divinity in each of you, and we see you doing great things. So we want to thank you for being here as we ask you to sing along with our Let There Be Peace on Earth, as this is a time of healing that we really needed, and our prayer for protection. And we hope to see everyone here and the candlelighting service Friday, 7 p.m.
Begin with me. light of God surrounds me.
I am light.
The love of God enfolds me.
I am love.
The power of God protects me.
I am power.
The presence of God watches over me.
I am presence.
Wherever we are, God is.
And I am divine.